Welcome to Mindfully Integrative Podcast with your host, Dr. Damaris G. Mindfully Integrative is a podcast discussing ways toward mindfully incorporating integrative health into our lives. This podcast will have informative resources, fun topics, interviews, and discussions relatable for today with a true mindful perspective in a mind-body, holistic life approach.
Hi, how are you? This is Dr. Damaris Maria Grossman, and this is the Mindfully Integrative Show. And today we have an awesome mindful chat with John Barnes. He's an author. He is a speaker. He is an individual that's going to kind of motivate you and tell you a little bit about his story and his life. So thank you so much, John, Mr. Barnes, for being on.
My pleasure. Great to be here. Thank you.
So tell me a little bit, a little fun fact, as I say, that people may not know about you.
Probably the fun fact I would give is I'm a former stand-up comedian. I did stand-up comedy full-time for about 4 years back in the early 90s. So a long time ago. Great experience. That was transitioning out of a career in banking, if you can believe it. So
that's quite
my fun fact.
Yeah. What was your kind of jokes? What was your area? Was it dirty stuff, not good stuff? What kind of area did you love to joke about?
Most of it had to do with poking fun at myself. I found that very advantageous, disarming to audiences. You know, if you can pick on yourself a little bit, they can get with you. So I also started doing impressions, and so I did a lot of that and a lot of material around doing impressions. Unfortunately, most of the people I do really well aren't with us anymore, you know.
I cannot make an impression for the life of me. So it's the worst.
Well, it's funny. I think you,
and I don't think I'm funny at all. So there's that area of being comedy would not be on my number one list. That would be on the bottom of.
Well, it is a learned practice. People think you're born with it, and it's not true. It's like anything else. It's a learned practice that's enhanced through practice and repetition and emotional involvement, just like everything else. So
that makes sense. But laughter is a healing factor for others. You know, it's a way of healing and a way of getting past a lot of emotional response. So it's a good thing, for yourself and others.
Absolutely. It's hard to feel bad if you watch 20 minutes of Robin Williams. It's just hard to feel bad when you laugh that hard. So almost impossible. So
yeah. So let's chat about you and how kind of your life's journey into, like you said, you were a banker, and where you're at now in this integrative health space, as I call it.
Wonderful. I think, like a lot of people, I pursued career, even family, in the sense of what was expected or what I felt was expected of me. I was married for 20 years. I was a banker in finance, a lot of other things, etc. And I kept doing things like comedy. I kept doing things like sitting down and writing and making up stories, etc. And they were all really interesting clues that I had a little bit of a creative side, actually more than a little creative side, that I was suppressing because I felt like I should, or I felt like there were things that I needed to do rather than what I wanted to do. And I'm not attempting
taking care of your family, doing things like
sure, and all of these things are important. I'm not saying, chuck it all and do whatever. That's not my point at all. However, the way I will put it is I felt at that time a lot of my life was out of alignment. When I speak of alignment or perfect self-expression, this is not my concept. It's about being in alignment with thoughts, feelings, and actions. And I believe a lot of the time people are out of alignment. I know I was for a long time. And about 12 years ago, it really kind of started an in-depth journey. The subject was me, I guess, and what the core beliefs I had, what they were, whether they were helpful or enhancing me, or whether they were in my way, and just change things around. Not that I have a real career as well as a writing career, as a speaking and coaching career, etc. Do a lot of different things. However, my perspective on all those things has changed a great deal. And so it's an inner journey. It's also a journey of what am I doing in my life intentionally. COVID, not that we're going to talk about COVID, however, that period of time, I became very intentional about the routines I adopted during isolation. I thought it was really easy to get the wrong input, really easy to stagnate. That's when I really started doing a lot more daily meditation. Things like daily journaling, watching and being intentional and careful about the input from the TV, from reading, from other people. And it's made a huge difference in my life, just in how I feel, how I produce. I mean, I'm an author now. I never would have gotten to that place without this journey. So that's a bit about it. It's funny talking to a clinician, because I'm not qualified. I'm not a clinician. However, I believe there's so many things that we can do that have a great impact on our life that are just practical things.
Yeah, they really are. And that's kind of my, coming into meeting different individuals like yourself and understanding their journey of what their path to change their behaviors and in their health, and that's part of their health. Their, your mindful health and your mental health change, and look where it's coming. You opened up this kind of darker spot in your life, but now you were able to write a book, and you're an author and you're a speaker and motivating individuals, and that you found something that you might not have realized you were able to do.
Absolutely. And one of my favorite quotes is from one of my favorite mentors, Dr. Wayne Dyer, who's
he's beautiful.
Been around for a while. However, he said everything that happens in your life had to happen. The proof is it did. And our stories are so powerful. We have an event, we have an emotional experience around that event, we develop a story. And that's good news. We're in charge of that story. If we've made up a story that we feel like holds us back, upon reflection, we can change the meaning of the story. The event's the same. The meaning we attach to it is different. And when I set out to write, I did not want to write another personal growth book. Not that I have anything against that. However, I wanted to tell stories. I believe our stories in our lives are exceptionally powerful to ourselves. We sometimes don't appreciate. We just accept something that we've created as true. And it may be really holding us back or really creating difficulties in our life, including health difficulties, etc. And the good news is we can change the meaning of that. So in the work I've done as a coach and facilitator, I've heard so many stories, and they're all inspirational. They're all powerful. And that's what I did when I created the book. I wanted to tell stories and hopefully provide some inspiration to people to change their own, or to look at them a little differently, to shift their perspective a little bit in a healthy way.
I love that. And your book that you just finished writing?
The book is 18, a novel of ruin and redemption. Not sure how visible it is. And shameless plug, I'm launching this book on the 29th of August.
No shameless plug. You're on here. I want you to talk about it. So ruin to redemption. Please explain.
So every character, it's quite a journey. When I set out to write this, it's set in the world of golf. I'm a very passionate golfer, and I'm always drawing golf metaphors to life and the opposite. However, it's not about golf. It's about a golfer and the people in his life. And there are about 4 different intersecting storylines. And every one of these characters has a form of ruin in their life. And then through their own path and through their own choices, they're redeemed. And I think a lot of times we look at life, and I don't want to be too general. However, we'd like life to be easy and consistent and not challenging, and we want bad things to happen, etc. And that's not the life we live. We all have challenges. We all have things that happen in our lives, and there's something on the other side of that. And so all of these characters have that. The book is fictional. The characters are inspired by other people that I have known, including myself, and meant to be entertaining and inspirational. And by the way, I'm thrilled and just love the female characters I have in the book. I have some wonderful female characters in the book that I'm so proud of and that I love dearly. I love all my characters, even the bad guy. I love the bad guy. So it's exciting for me. It's something that was the biggest, I guess, example or evidence of life passion and following life passion. And I hope it sells millions and millions of copies, but whether it does or whether it doesn't, it's something that had to get out, and I'm immensely proud of. And that effect on my life has been huge and will continue to be huge. The fact that I did this, and I had to fight through a whole lot of things personally to get to that point. So,
yeah, no, writing a book isn't an easy undertaking, but in general, your growth period from there, and also your own health transitions, in the sense of you went from like a steady job, consistency, to realizing you were a comedian, you were saying, to then being this other side career, to this newfound life work. And you're making a difference for yourself and for others in this different path. Do you regret anything that you left behind, or do you feel like you've kind of moved on from?
I can look at it from the standpoint of, are there regrets? And I think there are always regrets. And then we look at that. A quote I'll give is that wisdom comes from experience. Experience comes from making a boatload of mistakes. So I can look upon things as regrets, and I can also look upon those things as those were things I had to do to learn. Making mistakes is always uncomfortable. Looking back and with regret is always something we do, and that is uncomfortable. And I wish I could always look at those things as priceless experiences. I wouldn't learn any other way. So there's a lot of that. I mean, I spent a lot of time in a marriage that wasn't fulfilling to me, and that isn't a slight toward my former wife at all. I believe we stayed in that for our own reasons, and some of them weren't the best. So was that a very dark time in my life? Yes. And did it lead me here? It did. Mm-hmm. And I'm grateful.
Yeah. I mean, it's not those darker times, those negative moments or things in life that you've struggled through have kind of made your growth period to where you are. But it's also beyond that. Now you're writing, even though you didn't want to write a personal growth book or development book, here you're writing a self-help to others in a fictional way. And you'll probably have more books out there. I can imagine. It sounds like in your conversation already that there's plenty more that you want to say.
100%. And it's a personal growth message with a whole lot of entertaining drama. And I believe that's the juice. When do we really learn? When we've got an emotional charge on something. That's really when we learn. And so the stories having an emotional impact, all of our stories, is how we have an opportunity to learn.
And like you had said that you used golf as your vehicle of health transition, or just like in your mental health or emotional feelings, or did you always use it for physical enjoyment?
I've always, that's been the passion. I've done a lot of physical things. I learned a tremendous amount from being a martial artist for about 7 or 8 years as well, and a lot of parallels between that and golf. I kind of got to a point, and maybe this is on topic, I hope it is, that I had to give myself permission to tell a story that way. I would have voices in my head that say, well, geez, how are you going to tie that in, with the story you want to tell? And one of the cool realizations for me was, well, I'm using my imagination, and there's no limit to my imagination except the ones I impose. So just that feeling kind of breathes life into me. And I'd love to see more people do that. And it's not a question of and or, either or. it's a question of both. There's a way to do whatever you feel like is your passion, whether it's, basket weaving or writing or speaking or golf or whatever it is, and your career, the things you need to do to stay alive.
Were there any lessons that you learned throughout this path that when you were writing these stories?
Wow. So many. We could talk all day. Probably the biggest one is that my voice matters. And even if it only matters to me or just a few people,
matters.
It matters.
Because it's a ripple.
100%. There's no, you talk about leading and leadership. We're all leading every day. And we're also all following. However, how are we leading? Whether we're intending to or not, we're leading. So that's one big thing I'll say.
Do you have a little lesson in your book that you would like to share, or a page or something that you'd like to share in your book?
I'd love to.
That'd be great.
One of the major themes in the book is the F word. Don't get nervous, Doc. Standing for forgiveness. One huge lesson in the book is forgiveness, and a lot of times that's heard in
huge.
It's heard sometimes in a biblical sense, in that, well, it's right to forgive, or maybe the Bible or God says you should forgive. Forgiveness is a better way to live. Forgiveness is a gift given oneself. It doesn't mean a pass. It doesn't mean weakness. It means to give as before. All of these characters find a way to give as before they were hurt, before they were slighted, before they fell or fell short somehow. And if there's only one lesson out of the book, and that was it, I'd be satisfied.
I think that is a very profound lesson. Spiritual health and spiritual wellness is something we don't always talk about, but I talk about it a lot on this podcast. But in general, as healthcare providers and others, I feel the connecting with whatever source that is for you and finding this forgiveness, even with yourself or others, is a profound thing that we don't always do or understand or know how to do, especially even in the toughest times. So the fact that you're talking about it, maybe someone is listening right now and saying, I need to forgive XYZ, or I need to just forgive myself for whatever the situation is. And that's needed. People need to hear those tough moments to see, because sometimes forgiveness is harder than forgetting.
Absolutely. I think that it comes down a lot of times to, no, I need this armor. I need this grudge. I need this resentment
Right.
Because it protects me. And if that's true, fine, it maybe protects you, but by keeping your heart safe, it keeps anything else from getting in. It's a better way to live. And I so appreciate you talking about the spiritual side of this. I happen to be a Christian. However, for however it's organized, I believe one big thing we're missing in our world today, not to be controversial, is a reconnection to our source.
I say source that everyone in this podcast can, whatever that is for them.
Whatever it is.
Also, but whatever they want to call their source.
I laugh. One of my comedian friends, he was from New York, and he said, I grew up thinking God's name was Harold because I was a Catholic in New York City, and the Catholic priest would say, Our Father who art in heaven, Harold be thy name. So maybe Hal, if you're really tight with him. I don't know.
Oh, that's great.
I don't like to get caught up in the semantics and the rules. I believe that we are all connected through our source, however that's organized, however it sounds, or whatever the words are for you. And I would not have been able to do what I did in the book and so many other things in my life without that understanding and appreciation.
I love it. Yeah, no, I could not agree with you more.
Thank you.
Would you like to discuss a small story or tip that for the audience?
A small story or tip? We could do all kinds of things.
Well, how can they reach you first? How about that?
They can reach me at my website, authorjkbarnes.com.
jkbarnes.com. I'll have them in the show notes also.
Yes, that'd be great. authorjkbarnes.com. Love any contacts, discussion or work there. I'm on LinkedIn, of course, as well, and Facebook. One tip: sit still and breathe for 15 minutes a day. Sounds really easy for a lot of people. It's not. Meditation is a practice. I believe in it. It's something I do every day. I recommend to every single person. Get still and breathe. Very basic, huh, Doc?
Oh, it's not basic. And it's Damaris, not Doc. Don't worry.
Oh, okay. You look like a doc, though.
It is very not easy, right? So, and it's that forgiveness of within, the forgiveness of others, and the energy without, right? So you're trying to be still. And for others, it is so important to just listen a little bit.
Yes.
So even if it's a couple minutes, couple breaths, get them in there. Because you never know what you'll be able to hear.
Absolutely. So
you
true.
Never know.
So true.
Well, would you like to talk to the audience about anything else that's inspiring you right now before we go?
You were inspiring to me, Damaris, that
Really?
You're doing this.
Oh, that's very sweet.
And
Passion.
This is a forum that I believe is the next frontier for us. For us as humans, in that we've kind of mastered out there, outside of us, and I'd love to see us master ourselves. And the work you're doing, this type of work, and the work that we're doing, is hugely important. And I'm grateful and joyful to know you and to be able to do it.
Well, I'm so grateful that you're on the show and you're, taking the time. I can't wait for those to reach out to you as an author, a speaker, and a guide, and even a comedian, to get a couple laughs, because laughter in itself is, will just get us closer to a happier life,
So true.
Do you have a joke? How about that? Do you have a joke for the end?
Oh, a joke. Okay, this is my favorite clean joke.
All right. Clean. Yes, it would have to be a little clean.
So a phone salesman calls a house. Now, this is back when there was a phone house.
Phone. A phone in a house.
In a house. So a little boy picks up the phone. He's whispering, "Hello." He says, "Hi, is your mom or dad home?" "Yes." "Can I talk to him, please?" "No, they're busy." "How about your older brother or sister? Are they there?" "Yeah, they're here." "Can I talk to one of them?" "No, they're very busy." He says, "Wow, everybody's home at your house. What are they all doing?" "Looking for me."
Hide and seek.
There
Love
you
it.
go.
That's so cute. That's so cute. Oh my gosh. Having a little one, I can totally get it. He's always trying to hide on me. Well, thank you so much for being on the show and for taking the time. And I can't wait for another time for you to be on your next book, probably, perhaps, and another speaking event. So thanks again, John Barnes. And I hope that each one of you listening can find a mindful way each and every day. Thanks again, and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you for listening to the Mindfully Integrative Show with Dr. Damaris Maria Grossman, family nurse practitioner. This podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and is not to substitute for professional medical advice, diagnose, or treat. Always consult your healthcare provider before making changes to your healthcare routine. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. If you enjoyed our show, please support us by leaving a mindful review on Apple Podcasts or your favorite streaming platform. Interested in being a guest or more information? Email us at info@mindfullyintegrative.com. For resources mentioned in the show, visit our website at www.mindfullyintegrative.com. You can also connect mindfully with Dr. Damaris on her social media links found on the site. May your strength and peace guide you to find a mindful way every day. Namaste.